Hey everybody, BTO Pro here, and today I'm going to make kind of a fun element. I need something to demonstrate a bunch of different concepts in, and so that this YouTube video doesn't get blocked, you can, I'll put this in the notes. You can go and watch this. It's a interesting artistic effect. This clip, this movie called They Live, in which this guy has truth sunglasses, and so effectively he puts the sunglasses on. And he looks at signage, and when he takes sunglasses off, it looks like a normal sign, but then when he looks at it, he sees like the intentionality behind what it is. And so I saw this at a conference. It's really, it's a cool little effect, right? Like, oh, obey, consume, watch TV, buy things, be a consumer, right? Everything that the guy's walking by does this stuff, magazines, all that. So I thought that'd be really cool if you could like hit the Alt key while you had focus on an element, and it did that. Like it showed you the hidden messaging behind what it was. And so I don't have a direct reason to do that, but then again, I didn't have a direct reason to do the meme maker tag, and I use it all the time. So I think it's an interesting way of approaching accessibility, as well as light and shadow DOM composition. So how do we solve that or start to work on that in the context of our tooling? So our tooling is wcfactory. You can learn more about it at wcfactory.js.org. But effectively, it's for doing heavy lifting of large portfolios of elements. It's not the place I'd recommend starting. I'd probably start at like an open-wc.org. Their tooling is much more simplified for getting started. But once you get beyond a couple elements and you have like a portfolio that you want to manage and distribute at scale, then you're in WC Factory territory. So the way that I make a new element in WC Factory, because we already have a mono repo, which is the name of what this sits in. It's where all our elements live. So whenever our team wants to add a new element, we do WCF element. WCF will then allow you to select which factory. You have to kind of understand what our mental model is, but effectively you've got like these bundles of mega repos of things that you're working on. And then you can pick the different elements and the ways that you want to actually approach this. So I'm going to use, at least attempt to use LitElement for this one. And so I asked what it should be named. Someone said They Live on Twitter, so it's going to be called They Live, because it's the name of the movie. So to demonstrate the hidden reality behind the component. So I don't want to use Sass. Custom properties. No, we're not going to do that for this. The purposes of this. You can step through a little CLI. Honestly, it needs some additional love, but you can step through a CLI and it'll ask you like if you want it wired to hacks, things like that. But effectively, what's going to be happening as this rolls through is, let me pull up our mono repo. So this is our mono repo, LRM Web Components. It's going into elements, and now it'll start to work on a folder here. There we go, called They Live. So effectively what our tooling is doing is saying like, look, there's a lot of people that work on this, on all of our elements, and they need one common repository to check out and get access to them. The WC Factory tooling ensures that these individual elements have the identical way of interfacing with them. So we did a lot of templating to kick out this new element that, for example, has a very basic demo and has a source directory and has the ability to navigate into it and run yarn start and get an identical result every time. So that no matter what elements the rest of the team is working on at any given moment, we can always, understand how to work through each other's stuff. Okay, so that's gonna go and get all these dependencies, because why wouldn't it? There's a lot of dependencies involved in doing local development anymore, but you see it's running some additional scripts. And so this, if it works correctly, this should get deleted and it'll get replaced with a symbolic link. Still waiting for it. Do it. Still wait, still going. There we go. Did that one. They did that one. Okay, so you might have seen the arrow changed. Then it also runs an initial build just to get some additional files here as if it's been created the first time. Okay, so now when it's done, it claims that took 11 seconds. That is not how long it took. Now we can go to work on our element, right? And it says, hey, this is brought to you by Penn State, so you're welcome. So now I can go into this element, cd into it, and then I can run yarn start. And this is the process we use for every single one of these that we've ever made. So now that we've got that in place, it'll open up our little documentation site. Yay, documentation site is here. Okay, and now I'm going to pull it open in the code repository here. So we've got my whole repo off to the side, and H should be under T for they live. I could probably search for it as well, couldn't I? They -live. Here we go. Okay, so it's templated and created this just base thing that we're going to work within, right? It's got our styles in here. It's got just some very basic stub code as far as, hey, there's first updated, all that good stuff. Okay, so what I'm thinking, right, is that one, that this can be focusable, and two, that it's going to have something in it. So we want like a billboard or an image or something. So first we're going to edit our demo and make sure, okay, yeah, if we look at the theylive.html, it's just slot, and you can see what the slot is that's operating there. So, okay, now anything I put inside here is going to be rendered here. That's the way slots work. So what we're going to do is for our demo, I think I have an image, like a crazy image, but the idea is that we do like img src, and so let me see if I have that. I do, okay. This is an image I saw from Business Traveler of like an airport, I think. Okay, so we'll just save. Now our tooling kicks in. I can hit refresh here. There we go. It's this insane photo of this airport in China that I think is currently being built. And I found the photo funny because it kind of looks like an Elms logo if you followed our project. So, all right, so let's say I wanted to wrapper this image tag. Now, interesting design consideration, because this is sitting in LightDOM. One, I could put anything in here and have it wrapped and do this, but also from an SEO perspective, that image is in the DOM. You know, JavaScript fails, that image is still in the DOM, right? It's not going to have all these enhanced features that I'm wrapping on top of it. So let's look at, not properties because I'm not leveraging that. Here we go. In my actual element. So we want to do some event listening, right? We also want this to be focusable on the tag itself. Now in Polymer, you could put attributes on the thing via, there was like a host attributes lifecycle. Now what I can do, and you have to do it based on first updated, because you're not guaranteed that connected callback actually has this all working. But what I can do is on first updated, which is a safe hook to do this, I could do this dot set attribute, and we'll do tab index, and then we'll say 0. And so now I should be able to refresh this after the tooling runs. See, it's selectable, right? So now it's already got a tab index. So they live automatically becomes something highlightable in that case, right? It's going to be able to gain focus. And if it gains focus, then we can start to mess with it, right? So we could, just as a real basic one, we could say :host focus. And so when we have focus, we want the background color to be gray. And we'll just see what that does real quick to make sure that that actually works. Hey, there we go. Cool. So we also, when we have focus, I think that we could do, whenever we have focus, how would we do that? So we should be able to target the things that are in this slot as long as it has a selector above it. So I could do like ID slotted content. And honestly, it doesn't even do that. Let's just do class. Class content. There we go. And then I'm going to wrap that with a div. Okay. So now in here, I'm going to be able to do a selector like this, which is a little weird, but I can do dot content slotted, and then we'll say image. And actually, let's take it from image and we'll just do star. And we'll do z index -1. I am almost positive this will work, but we'll see. So, okay, reload. Okay, it didn't apply to it. Let's try like this, because we want, whenever the element is in focus, the slotted content underneath this dot content selector. And in fact, I can modify the URL so I can get these updates faster. There we go. So let's inspect. Okay. Tab index 0. So let's simulate focus on here. Force state to focus. Interesting. Okay. Now the image is not being targeted. I was pretty sure that you can actually do these like slotted, colon slotted. I'm looking for a past example of use. So it's supposed to have a space. It might need to be an ID, but we'll see. We'll also do IMG specifically as the thing that we're targeting. Okay, and then we'll, whoops, I'm going to take this, we'll force this to a state of focus. All right, and then we'll look at the image. Okay, so it is picking up z index -1. That's cool. So I can influence this based on the tag itself having focus. So what I could also do in this, instead of the z index -1, I could do like a hidden, or visibility hidden, sorry. Visibility hidden. It would help if I could spell visibility. There we go. All right. So now, there we go. That's kind of what we want as our effect in this case, right? We're tabbing to this item that previously couldn't be tabbed to, and because we have focus on it, then we can reveal some deeper truth. Now, if we take this item and we have to mess with the CSS a little bit probably, so I think it's a display block, we want this to actually be display flex, then I think it'll just be the side, or maybe not. There we go, inline block I think is what I actually wanted. That way when I tab, there we go, when I tab to it, it specifically targets it and it goes away. Okay, so now we could do a :host, and now it's when we have focus, right? And again, that's kind of, you could do this other ways, right? I could gain focus, listen for the events of on focus, and then actually change an attribute and then target the attribute, but this is just cleaner, right? Doing it without JavaScript. So now instead, I want .truth, and so .truth is going to be visibility visible, and then we're going to do an additional selector up here, which is just .truth. We don't need the host part. And the default visibility of truth is going to be hidden, but we're also going to put a transition on this, and we'll do a 0.3s linear all. Actually, I like to write all and then linear. Okay. So then we'll do opacity 0. This is a fun trick to animate things into focus. It's pretty easy. All right, opacity 1, and we totally want the truth to be revealed. Now, in they live, what we'll do here is, so it's the slotted content is what's going to go away, but this div should still maintain the same dimensions and things. So let's try this. We'll do a div inside of there. It's going to be class equals truth. And then we're going to do template literal syntax. We're going to do a this dot truth. Right, so then this will be interpreted based on what truth is. And now we're going to actually add in a property here, and we're going to have a truth, and truth is type string. Oops, actually I like this string. I'm pretty sure that's all we'll need in that regard. Now in the demo, I'll need they live to have truth equals carbon, or pollution, right? Because the revealed truth would be, you know, air travel is great and all, but it does generate a lot of pollution. Hey, there we go. Sweet. So because I put the word pollution there, and you can see it fade in and out, it's kind of cool. Now it'll fade in and out based on focus being set there. So I also needed to change this from block to inline block, and that way we get the exact dimensions. Cool. Okay. And then truth, we're going to need to do some interesting CSS with. Now, for one, we're going to want font size of truth to be, we'll say 25 VW. And you see pollution. It's enormous. And so truth, we want to be display flex. We might even do a float left just to cheat on this for the moment. Oh, there's pollution. And coming into focus so we can see the truth. Now let's take pollution in this case and start messing with the CSS. Font size, 10 VW instead. Display block, or position absolute. That's what I wanted, yeah, like position absolute. We can see that it's there, and then we want height to be 100%. Display flex, I actually think it would do it anyway, but float none. Don't like floats. It's visible, and then we want margin to be, what is it? It's like 0 auto. Nope, it's not putting it in the middle. But now, again, because it's focus-based, right? So if I click on it, I get the same effect as if I tab to it. So that starts to get into some accessibility wiring in there. So we don't want float. We want display flex. We want 10 VW, and we want position absolute, I believe. Position absolute. Margin 0 auto. We'll see if that does anything in a position absolute. I don't think it does, but there's that. We could do text align center. Nope, still nothing on that one. Opacity 1. Display block visibility visible. Okay. Position, right? Some of this is I kind of have to do this so that I can actually figure out how the heck to make this thing show up. So we could just do initial for position, and then no, we definitely don't want to float. The margin's okay. Maybe if we did like a margin negative 10 VW, or yeah, VH. Position relative z index 1, or actually 2 because it'll then move above it probably, and then we don't want it to be margin negative 2, we want it to be like 10. Absolute fixed. Let's do absolute positioning. 20 of the okay, whoops. Alright, so we're kind of starting to mess with the positioning of this, right? I knew it would kind of come to this where I start to get into issues of how do I space this appropriately? But you get the idea. The fun thing, and I'll clean this up after the video, that this is kind of the process we end up going through for these exact types of things, right? I know what it is I'm trying to do, and then oscillating back and forth as far as the best way to actually accomplish it in a way that we can leverage over and over again. So there's margin 0. Okay, so let's get those in place at least. And so when we refresh, now the truth can be revealed. And now we've added this hidden functionality onto something that's already there. And we've kept it in light DOM, right? So the real thing that matters is that that image is there. Thank goodness. We could also start to modify it so that, you know, it's not like just when I do that. It could be hover based as well, right? So that then is just pure CSS selectors. So like I think this is a really useful way to kind of dip your toe in the water with this stuff, as well as like if you're used to doing these little CSS tricks to achieve this stuff, it's not that hard to conceive like, oh, well, if I know that :host is now something I have, then hover surely is going to be one too, right? And so I can do the same thing with that slotted image. Now I could also, we can do it with anything, we'll show that, this selector. The reason that I had to do this before, I don't know why it's color coding it inaccurately, but is that just based on the way the : is this pseudo selector for slotted, you have to have something between host and the slotted thing in order for it to work, or it won't do anything. So we can do truth, and this one's also going to be on hover, right? So now I'm just working on CSS, normalizing my behaviors, right? So I can focus it by tab, I can do that, or I could click it. All of those things will work. I could theoretically, I guess, have like active as well, but we'll leave that off for the time being. So now, because I've changed this from IMG to everything, right? It still works with the IMG, but now we can mock up some other demos. So now we could put, instead of that image in there, we could actually do a div, and the div says, eat more candy, but candy is going to make us die faster, or whatever it is. So that now the hidden message behind eat more candy is really cryptic and awful. But that pollution spelled inaccurately. Let's spell it correctly. So you can see the way that you could start to leverage these things. And then, you know, I could also mix in other elements we've already made, right? And see how they play with this approach. So I love my meme maker. And so I could pull in meme maker. It's not mine. I actually refactored it from someone else. So there's meme maker. Let's copy that tag. Now we can, we'll make another block. And honestly, this is a lot of the process like that we end up going through, is having a real example and then starting to make some silly examples and a mix of like, well, what if it did fill in the blank, right? So that we can extrapolate and get more flexibility in something we already were making. So now it would be nice if in meme maker, let me see if I have meme maker in the queue here. Yes, I do. Okay. So meme maker, now I could take the meme maker tag and we're going to wrap meme maker. Let's see. Oh, this is a Dragon Ball Z reference apparently from my course. We're going to take that. They live. Truth is nerds rule the world. And so, you know, no one wants to admit it, but it is the truth. So that when we have a Dragon Ball Z reference where we're kind of poking fun at nerd culture in general, right, we're able to then indicate to everybody, hey, nerds rule the world. So, oh, that's why that rendered weird. I had a style tag on it. There we go. So, nerds rule the world. Now, this isn't styled appropriately, I understand. We need some type of text-fitting option. And as I was reading this CSS tricks article, there's sadly not really a way to do this, which is kind of obnoxious. But so, you know, it says basically in the article, like, you could try to find a magic number and see if it works. So let's see if we can't throw in a magic number for font size and hope for the best. You know, that's going to be way too large for what we're doing. But maybe if we made it like 5 and we did like word break all, and line height that we matched at that 5.5 BW. Whoops, that's not the article. I'm going to refresh. 1, 2, refresh this. Nerds rule the world. All right, pollution still, and there's our eat more candy, which is a really good Halloween message. Nerds rule the world. So let's see what happens on a screen reader test as well, right? Because part of this is like hidden messages, and we want them to be accessible, weird hidden messages. So I'm going to turn on the screen reader and let's see. on my keyboard here.
Enable added to like videos. Application. Window. Chrome. They live. System has new window. Nerds rule the world. Group. Copy button. Nerds rule the world. Group. You are currently on a group inside of web content. To interact with items in this group, press Control Option Shift down arrow. To exit this web area, press Control Option Shift up arrow.
So I am doing what it just told me to do. It's not actually doing that. Now I think that's because there's area expressions on, not my tag.
Voiceover off.
I'll turn that off. Not on my tag, but it's actually on the this display method, because I could do this copy button. I think that's how the Polymer team did these accessibly. So there we go. I've got the eat more candy one. I've got my hover state. So this is also just an interesting little parallel. This is what I was able to do as far as mixing functionality on and enhancing things that are in the light DOM. I was able to do this with another tag I showed not too long ago, which was a portal element or portal launcher. And so if we look at what the demo for the portal launcher is real quick, you can see portal launcher is going to take normal links, keep their presentational aspect that way, still give them the same, accessibility enhancements and everything else you'd expect. But if your browser supports the portal tag, it'll actually dynamically create a portal tag and then launch to these tags instead. So I could actually mix that into this as well. It might be a little weird. But that's kind of it's an interesting design paradigm, right? To say, hey, we made this meme. Well, the meme is made out of an image tag. Or, hey, it's just an image tag, and we want to reveal a deeper truth. I could also have taken the meme maker tag and made it operate that way. I didn't. Maybe we'll do that as a variation, to be perfectly honest, where the meme maker tag could just look at what's in its slot, present that as the image or content, and then dynamically overlay this alt information, wire in the bottom and top text, so that it said the correct things for each of those. I see the top text, it's actually supposed to be some type of Dragon Ball Z joke, and it's not using the right one. So if we did alt text Dragon Ball Z, and this is top hyphen text, I must have been manually writing content at one point. There we go. Dragon Ball Z GIF. So nerds rule the world as our hidden message that we have there. So I'll clean this up stylistically, but I hope this is a useful kind of tour into, like, here's just a basic way to make this new tag that has accessibility enhancements, a little bit of truth mixed in, and provides this interesting composition of light DOM and shadow DOM as well as styling. And you can see it didn't really involve very much JavaScript at all. It's all just working in the styles here in a single set, forcing the attribute of tab index to be 0 when first updated, which if I took that off, we didn't want users to be able to tab to it. Now I can hover state to these and I can't actually tab to them, right? So just some interesting little ways that you can mess with these things. Love what LitElement provides. Highly recommend working with it and starting to dig into the way you do CSS selectors inside the context of a shadow root, just so you get comfortable with it. If you have any questions about this or anything in the Web Components universe, just let people on the Hacks the Web team know. Reveal truth to others.